The scrapyard stretched for kilometers, a graveyard of machines abandoned by wars and corporations alike. Rusted hulls leaned on each other like broken bones, the air thick with iron dust and the faint hum of power cells that refused to die. Daniel Rourke moved among the wreckage like it was home. His boots clanged on loose plating, a wrench clattered against his belt, and sweat beaded his brow despite the chill that clung to Agar 7's thin atmosphere. Salvage was his trade, repair his craft. Out here, people didn't survive without men like him. Every generator, shuttle engine, and comm panel in the colony had passed through his hands at some point. He could coax life from dead circuits, weld with precision under failing light, and improvise with whatever scrap he had. The pay was lousy, but fixing things kept his mind steady. Daniel knelt beside the gutted frame of a transport drone. Its cracked guidance module blinked weakly, begging for attention. He was halfway through splicing the wiring when he heard something behind him, light, hesitant footsteps crunching on metal shards. "Not a good place for sightseeing," he muttered without looking up. A soft, halting voice answered, strangely melodic but broken. "Who, man? Help, speak, broken." Daniel turned sharply. A figure stood between two heaps of scrap, a girl, though clearly not human. Her skin gleamed faintly silver under the scrapyard's pale floodlights, her eyes large and violet, filled with nervous intensity. She wore a sleek tunic of woven fibers he had never seen before, torn at one sleeve and stained with dust. In her hands she clutched a small device sparking erratically, wires exposed. Daniel blinked. "You're far from the diplomatic sector. Lost?" She shook her head, frustrated. The device on her chest emitted a distorted crackle, then sputtered out. Her next words came jagged, as if forced through static. "Translator break. No, speak, without." He recognized it instantly. A VRE translator. Without it, she would be unable to communicate with anyone outside her species. For her to wander the human colony alone without functioning translation tech was dangerous. "Hand it over," Daniel said, extending his palm. "I'll take a look." She stepped back, eyes narrowing. "Trap? You harm?" Daniel sighed. "Lady, if I wanted trouble, I'd call in the patrols. But I don't. I fix things. That's all." For a long moment she stared, weighing his tone. Then, reluctantly, she extended the translator. It was warm to the touch, heavier than he expected. The casing was cracked where a circuit core had burned out. Daniel crouched, pulled a portable tool kit from his pack, and set to work. She hovered nearby, her posture tense. "You skilled? Enough to keep this colony breathing." He pried the casing open, shaking his head. "This thing's fried. You overload the buffer?" She frowned, clearly missing his meaning. "Run. Chase. Device fall." He nodded. "Figures." The repair was delicate. The translator core was built with alien alloys his tools weren't designed for, but he improvised, splicing wires with a micro-welder and slotting a scavenged capacitor into place. Sparks snapped. The device pulsed once, then again, as if resisting revival. Then something unexpected happened. A low hum rippled through the translator, not mechanical but alive. Strange symbols flickered across its small hollow screen, jagged glyphs he didn't recognize. For a brief second, they burned bright enough for Daniel to see, then seared into his mind like echoes. He froze. The symbols weren't just shapes. They carried weight, a resonance that made his pulse stutter. He understood fragments of them, though he had never seen them before. Voice, ancient, command. The alien girl gasped, snatching the device back. "No!" Her voice came suddenly clear, no longer fractured by static. "You should not see. Forbidden!" Daniel stepped back, rubbing his temples. "What the hell was that? Those symbols, why did I understand them?" Her expression shifted from fear to desperation. "Please! You must forget. Dangerous." He let out a sharp laugh, more disbelief than humor. "Forget? Lady, I just saw words in a language I've never studied, and somehow my brain decided it knows them. You think I can just toss that out like trash? Her gaze darted across the scrapyard, wary of listening ears. She lowered her voice. If others know, they take you. Silence you. The words, they are older than my people. My father says never speak them. Never. Daniel frowned. Then why are they buried inside your translator? She hugged the device close, eyes wet with something like shame. I do not know. It was not meant to break. You fixed it, too well. The tension hung heavy between them. Daniel wiped grease off his hands, considering his options. He had two choices: march her straight to Dominion officials and wash his hands of this bizarre mess, or keep the secret. But if he turned her in, it wasn't just her fate on the line. Whatever those symbols meant, the Dominion clearly feared them. And if the Dominion feared something, maybe humanity needed it. He met her eyes again. What's your name? She hesitated, then whispered. Sarai. Well, Sarai, looks like you've dropped a storm in my lap. He picked up his wrench, stuffing it back into his belt. I'll keep quiet. But you owe me answers. You show up again, you better come ready to explain what that language was. Her relief was visible, though still clouded with worry. Thank you, Daniel. He raised an eyebrow. Didn't tell you my name. She tapped the translator gently. Your repairs, reawakened memory logs. It spoke your name to me. That chilled him more than the symbols had. He didn't reply. From beyond the scrapyard walls, a siren wailed. Shift change at the mines, thousands of workers trudging back to barracks. Daniel glanced at the lights flickering out in the distance, then back at the girl. You should go. If the patrols spot you out here, questions will follow. Sarai nodded. She turned to leave, then paused, looking back once. Do not speak of this. Not to anyone. Promise. Daniel hesitated. He wasn't in the business of making promises, but something in her voice carried weight. Fine. Promise. She vanished into the maze of scrap heaps, moving with surprising grace for someone who had seemed so fragile moments ago. Daniel stood alone again, the night pressing in. His hands still tingled from the translator's pulse, and those impossible symbols lingered in his mind like echoes etched into stone. He muttered to himself. What the hell did I just fix? The scrapyard gave no answer, only the distant hum of broken machines whispering secrets older than both their species. Morning on Agar 7 was always gray, the red star barely piercing the colony's smog-stained dome. The settlement was waking up, miners dragging themselves toward lifts, vendors hawking reheated meals, security drones buzzing overhead. Life moved in the same rhythm of exhaustion and survival. Daniel pushed through the crowd, head low, mind elsewhere. The symbols still haunted him. They had burned into his thoughts like a brand, surfacing whenever he closed his eyes. He had memorized the shape of one glyph in particular, its meaning echoing faintly, command. He hated how it felt in his head, like a tool itching to be used. At the market square, a Dominion patrol passed by, 3 Vayari soldiers in dark armor, rifles slung casually. People kept their distance, pretending not to notice. The Dominion claimed to be here for diplomatic exchange, but everyone knew the truth: surveillance and control. At their center walked Commander Zareth Tall, severe, with obsidian skin marked by faint bioluminescent lines. He carried authority like a weapon. His gaze swept across the crowd, dissecting everything it touched. Daniel slowed, hoping to blend into the flow of bodies. Zareth's voice carried, sharp and deliberate. We have received reports. Fragments of ancient language have surfaced. Anyone who encounters such anomalies must report them immediately. Knowledge of this kind is dangerous. Suppression is necessary, for your safety. The crowd murmured uneasily. Daniel's jaw tightened. The Dominion always framed control as protection. He kept walking, resisting the urge to glance back. That night, as he sorted parts in his workshop, the door slid open. He spun, wrench in hand. Sarai stepped inside, hood pulled low. Her translator hummed steadily now, voice soft but clear. You did not tell them. Daniel exhaled. Wasn't planning to. But you walking into my shop isn't helping my chances. She approached the workbench, gaze darting across the tools. I had to come. The translator is different now. Since you touched it, it reveals things. Look. She activated the device. A small holodisplay shimmered above it, showing maps, star systems rendered in intricate detail, paths between them marked in flowing glyphs. Daniel stared, breath caught. These weren't colony charts. They reached far beyond Dominion borders, some pointing to uncharted voids. Where the hell did this come from? Buried in its core, she whispered. Hidden. My people forbid such records. They say the language belongs to the ancients who destroyed themselves. To know it is to risk the same fate. Daniel frowned. And yet it's still inside your tech. She nodded, troubled. We bury the past, but it waits. Your repairs woke it. The hollow shifted, symbols forming again. Daniel flinched as another meaning seared into him. Unlock? His skin prickled. I'm not liking this, he muttered. If your Dominion friends catch wind of this, they'll tear this place apart. Sarai's hands trembled as she shut the device down. That is why I came to you. You saw the symbols and lived. Most cannot. The language chooses who may grasp it. If they learn, you carry it. The workshop door hissed again. Both froze. 2 armored Veari soldiers entered, rifles raised. Behind them strode Zareth. His gaze locked on Daniel, then slid to Sarai. A thin smile curved his lips. Well, Zareth said softly. Isn't this convenient? Daniel forced his voice steady. What's the problem, Commander? Zareth stepped closer, ignoring the tools and clutter. You were seen in the scrapyard last night. With her. Now she stands here, unescorted, translator active. Tell me, human, what exactly did you repair? Daniel met his gaze evenly. A cracked power cell. Nothing more. Zaretha's eyes narrowed. Do not play games. I can smell truth like iron. That device hums with what should never exist. If you unlocked forbidden code, you endanger not only yourself, but your entire colony. Sarai stepped forward, defiance sparking in her voice. Leave him. He only helped. The fault is mine. Zaretha's expression hardened. Child, you are far from authority. Do not presume to shield him. The soldiers moved in. Instinct surged in Daniel. He grabbed the nearest tool, a heavy spanner, and held it like a club. Back off. I'm not handing her over. One soldier raised his rifle. Sarai shouted, Stop! And the translator pulsed violently. Symbols burst from the hollow in a cascade of light, filling the workshop with glyphs. For an instant, everything froze. The soldiers staggered, clutching their helmets as if struck by invisible force. Daniel felt the word command burn again in his skull, stronger now, pressing against his thoughts like a hand on his mind. Then the moment snapped. Zareth barked. Seize them! Sarai grabbed Daniel's arm. Run! They bolted through the back exit, boots slamming metal grates, alarms rising behind them. Plasma shots scorched the walls as they ducked into a narrow passage. Daniel's heart pounded, adrenaline washing away hesitation. Where are we going? He gasped. Underground, she urged. Hurry! They plunged into maintenance tunnels, shadows swallowing them. Behind, Dominion soldiers gave chase, their shouts echoing through steel corridors. Daniel and Sarai pressed deeper into the colony's underbelly, where lights flickered and pipes hissed. At last they collapsed against a bulkhead, lungs burning. Sarai clutched the translator to her chest, fear stark in her eyes. He will not stop. Zareth believes control depends on silence. Now he knows you are touched by the language. He will hunt you until you are ash. Daniel leaned back, grimacing. Great. Just what I needed, an alien hit squad. Why me? Her reply was quiet but steady. Because you are human. And humans are not bound by the same chains as we. The language chose you for a reason. Daniel shook his head, sweat dripping into his eyes. Don't go mystical on me. I just fixed a broken gadget. She touched his arm, gaze intense. No. You woke something the Dominion fears most, truth. Alarm still echoed faintly, but in that cramped tunnel, Daniel realized his life had shifted. He wasn't just a mechanic anymore. He was a target. And whatever he had glimpsed in those symbols was only the beginning. The maintenance tunnels wound deeper, a labyrinth of forgotten pipes and old service corridors that most colonists avoided. Daniel and Sarai moved quickly, guided only by dim lights and the faint hum of the translator at her chest. Behind them, echoes of Dominion soldiers faded but never disappeared. Daniel wiped grime from his face. We can't keep running in circles. They'll sweep every tunnel until they catch us. Sarai pressed a hand to the wall, listening as if the colony itself whispered to her. There is an access point ahead. A control node. The translator, it showed me. Daniel frowned. Control node? Those are sealed. Old Dominion hardware from before humans even settled here. Nobody's cracked one. Her eyes glimmered. Until now. They pushed on until the passage opened into a chamber half buried in dust and machinery. At its center stood a tall pillar of alien alloy, humming faintly with dormant power. Strange lines etched across its surface pulsed once as they approached, reacting to the translator. Daniel stopped cold. That's no standard system. Sarai stepped closer. This is what the language protects. Locks and keys hidden in our machines. My people sealed them, fearing what lay inside. Daniel's gut twisted. And you think now's the best time to go poking around? Before she could answer, footsteps thundered behind them. Zaratha's voice rang out, echoing off the steel walls. Enough running! They turned as he emerged from the tunnel, soldiers fanning out at his sides. His face was carved with fury, his eyes glowing faintly. The forbidden tongue does not belong in human minds. Hand her over, Rourke, and perhaps your punishment will be swift. Daniel tightened his grip on the spanner he still carried, though it felt pathetic against plasma rifles. Funny thing about threats. They don't sound so convincing when the person giving them is afraid. Zaratha's lips curled. You mistake discipline for fear. Sarai raised the translator. It pulsed, glyphs spilling into the air like light carved from memory. Daniel felt them press into his mind again. Command, unlock, resist. His heart pounded. The pillar responded. Its surface rippled, revealing a hidden console of shifting symbols. Daniel staggered back as meaning rushed into him unbidden. He understood what the glyphs wanted: input, activation, choice. Zaratha's soldiers raised weapons. Stop him! Daniel's voice cut through, steady despite the chaos. You want this language buried because it scares you. But fear doesn't erase truth. He touched the console. The glyph for resist blazed, and a surge of energy shot through the chamber. The soldiers' weapons flickered, their power cells shorting out in a cascade of sparks. Cries filled the room as rifles dropped uselessly. Zara snarled, lunging forward. You do not know what you unleash, human! Daniel stepped between him and Sarai, the console still glowing at his back. Maybe not. But I know one thing, you don't get to decide for us. For a moment, Zaratha's fury faltered, replaced by something colder, fear. Then he retreated a step, eyes locked on the console. This is not over. The Dominion will burn this colony to ash before letting you wield that tongue. He signaled his men. Reluctantly, they withdrew, retreating into the tunnel with the commander's glare lingering like a promise of vengeance. Silence pressed down after they were gone. Daniel exhaled shakily, lowering his spanner. His hands trembled from the rush of energy still coursing through him. That was insane! Sarai approached the console, awe etched across her face. You spoke the language as if born to it. The pillar obeyed. Daniel shook his head. I didn't speak it. I just felt it. Like it was already in me, waiting. She touched his shoulder gently. That is why Zarath fears you. Humans were never meant to know this, yet you do. The chains of my people do not bind you. You are free to use it. Daniel let out a bitter laugh. Free? I just painted a target on my back the size of this colony. They'll come harder now. Her gaze softened. Yes. But you are not alone. I will stand with you. For a moment, the weight of it all pressed down, Zaratha's threat, the power humming in the console, the impossible language carved into his mind. Daniel looked at Sarai, saw not just an alien girl but someone carrying the same burden of truth. He straightened, resolve hardening. Then we make a choice. We don't run, and we don't hide. If the Dominion wants this language buried, that's reason enough to keep it alive. The console dimmed, as if sealing itself again, leaving only silence. But in Daniel's thoughts, the glyphs still glowed: command, unlock, resist. Sarai smiled faintly. The ancients destroyed themselves with this tongue. Perhaps humans will do better. Daniel managed a half smile, though doubt gnawed at him. One step at a time. First, we survive. Above them, alarms wailed faintly through the colony. The hunt was far from over. But Daniel felt something shift inside him. For the first time, the Dominion didn't seem invincible. And that, he knew, was enough to change everything.